The Ultimate Football Fan is now here. All the biggest fan channels in one place.
Next night's down.
100% Chelsea.
Arsenal Fan TV.
All about the fans.
Why is he on the fucking pitch? What for what?
Exclusive content only here.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to
The UFF Daily Football Show.
The #1 source, everything going on in the football world, daily.
UFF. Do what you have to do.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. I'm Terry Flewers, joined by Adam from the Fifth Official. That's it, mate. It's over. The Premier League season has ended. It's done.
What are we going to do?
Watch the FA Cup final. Watch the Champions League final. Watch all the friendlies before the World Cup. Watch England get knocked out of the World Cup.
Nah, it's not going to happen. Don't even put that negativity in there.
Football that's the greatest thing about every summer where there's a World Cup or a European Championship. Football it just goes right through, and as soon as the World Cup's done, that your club's going to be in pre-season.
Love that.
It's amazing. And the transfer window opens on Thursday, so the transfer window opens on the 17th of May this year.
This Thursday?
Yes, that's 17th of May.
Bruv, this Thursday?
This Thursday, yes. So there's so much to look forward to in the footballing spectrum, but the season has come to an end. Some excellent performances from teams today, some lackluster ones. It was pure end of season drama. It really, really was. So we're going to do a bit of a different show. Obviously, we're not going to review individual games, okay? We're not actually going to talk any of the stuff we've spoken about for the majority of our shows so far this year. So I don't want to hear about Wenger in or Wenger out. I don't want to hear about parking the bus. I don't want to hear about Liverpool's defending or anything along those lines. What we're going to talk about is a list of things in the first half of today's show. And Jay in the call room, he's going to be very specific with you when you call. So our number, if you don't know it, is 0203 606 0315. But what me and Adam want to hear from you about is quite simply, we want to hear about who the best player of this season was, in your eyes. You don't have to copy the media and say Mo Salah. You can say Kevin De Bruyne. You can say Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I'll touch on why maybe that can be an option in a moment. Most improved player, the biggest flop, either club or player manager. The best signings, and of course the biggest overachievers as well. People, players, coaches and clubs that have done things you did not expect, the biggest shocks. That's what we're going to speak about in the opening part of this show. And Jay will be taking your calls on those subjects only. But Adam, from your point of view, a couple of those things there. We'll do them quite quickly. Who's been your player of the season?
Kevin De Bruyne. Hands down.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
Okay, I'll leave that one there. People can ring up and debate why with you on that one. Who's been the most improved player? Who's sort of improved the most over the course of this season for you?
Andrew Robertson, Liverpool, left back.
Great shout there. Who's been the biggest flop? Either
Renato Sanchez.
he is.
He's terrible.
I don't even know if he's a footballer anymore. That's how bad he's been.
He's not.
Best signing.
Okay, it's too soon. I want to give it to Aubameyang, but it's way too soon for me to do that.
Why is it too soon?
Because I think he didn't have a full season. People are saying that his start was similar to what Morata did and what Lukaku did.
Didn't you just read that stat to me a minute ago, though? What was the stat? You guys might not know this.
What, that he scored? Oh, yeah. That he scored more goals than Lukaku and Sanchez combined in 2018. But, the only thing is, it's like you never know. It could have fallen away in the second half of the season.
Okay.
So I think it's a bit difficult.
And also, but didn't you say he's the fastest player to get to 10 Premier League goals in Premier League history? Didn't you say that?
Yeah, I did. I can't remember if it was Premier League or Arsenal's history.
History.
One of the two.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And who's been your biggest overachievers? Who has done something this year you didn't expect to see from them?
I have to give that to Burnley. Have to, because I thought they were going to go straight back down. I even think that Sean Dyche's got them playing some decent football. So yeah, I have to give it to Burnley.
Cool. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name? Mick?
Yeah.
Lovely, Mick. You want to tell us who the signing of the season has been? Go for it.
Yes, my signing of the season for me, I know is Arnautovic from West Ham, because when he's kept them up on his own basically.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
He's done well. I mean, were you disappointed with his start? Because his start in a West Ham shirt wasn't particularly good, was it?
Yeah, but think about it. If you take Arnautovic out of that team, then where would they be right now? They'll be in the Champions League.
There's no goals in that team
You'd be in the Championship.
Yeah.
No, mate, it's a really good shout. I assume you're a West Ham fan.
No.
No. Okay.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Okay, fair, mate. Like that's nice to see a little bit of unbiased viewpoints. Any other thoughts on who's been your biggest overachievers of the season?
You mean by a team?
Yeah, the team or player or manager who's done something you did
It's
not
got to be
expect from
Burnley.
him.
That's the
Burnley.
obvious one.
Can't look beyond Burnley.
And I think you got to give credit to Chris Hughton. He doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
Yeah,
you know.
Brighton have done fantastically well. They really have. Mate, really appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much. And that's the type of calls that we want, talking about these things here.
Let me do something. So, Terry...
We'll do this call. We'll do it after. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Noah.
Hello,
Jeez.
Noah. No, man like Noah.
I haven't seen heard from Noah in so long.
I know, we blocked his number for a few. We didn't really. We didn't know. So, what is it you've rung to speak about?
Yeah, I just want to speak about this season, really, like all players, really, and all managers, like what you were asking at the start of the show today.
Okay, so who has been your best player? Who's been your standout individual of the Premier League season?
There's a few. I think Salah and De Bruyne have to be up there. Obviously.
Yep.
I think Sane also has to be up there.
Yep.
I'm really struggling to pick one standout player. I don't think I could give it to an Arsenal player if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, of course.
You can't. That's impossible. That's impossible.
Because they haven't just done it all season, whereas Salah, De Bruyne, they've done it all season. If I'm going to pick someone, it probably has to be De Bruyne, but I wouldn't really want to pick one person.
Why would you say De Bruyne over Salah?
Because, De Bruyne, hasn't he done it consistently through more than one season?
Yeah, but the last 2 seasons he has had injuries, his first 2 seasons he had injury layoffs, so he hasn't hit the same consistency that he has done this season. But I mean, he hasn't scored the same goals that Salah has. But I agree with you. The only reason I have to pick Kevin De Bruyne is because I think he rarely makes a bad decision in a game. Like I've not seen him do a series of things wrong in a game. His decision making, his playmaking. There was one pass he did where he was at the byline, and it just kind of evaded all. It was it was an outswinging part. It was so weird. But I just think his technique, his application, his decision making. He's a brilliant football player, and that's why I have to give it to him over Salah. But I don't know.
Good, mate. Go on, Noah. One more point. Go on.
All right. I just want to mention something about Aubameyang, and then just really quickly the flop of the season.
Yeah. What about Aubameyang?
Yeah, you have to give it. You have to give him some credit. Obviously, he hasn't done it for a full season, nor has he done it for more than one season. And obviously, you have to consider the fact that he's coming to a team, and this team wasn't the best attacking team in the Premier League by any means whatsoever. Arsenal, I'm on about, and it wasn't really a team with great players. You could say he's kind of done it for us this season since he's come into Arsenal, because he's made the difference when it comes to those clinical times where we need the goal.
So you think he's the best signing?
Sorry?
So you think he's the best signing of the season?
In terms of Arsenal or every single club?
You choose. You tell me.
No, obviously he's the best signing of Arsenal of the season. Yeah, yes, I'll go with. But I think what you have to look at is there are strikers that are struggling at the moment. For example, I was going to say that Morata's been the flop of the season. Yeah, Pogba's alongside him, but, let's just put it as Morata. But
I'm just laughing because Terry made a face. Terry doesn't.
The thing is, if you look how bad Morata's been, if you look how bad Renato Sanchez has been, as you've mentioned, Pogba doesn't come anywhere near that, so it's a nonsense. It really, really is. Mate, appreciate your call, Noah. Thank you very, very much. We're getting on for 4... Cool. So just anyone who, sorry, the whole Pogba flop thing is just ridiculous. Listen, anyone who's calling up, we're not taking phone calls, reviewing individual games today, talking stats. We don't want to hear about people moaning about Wenger, moaning about Jose parking the bus. We're here to talk about the best players, the worst players, the best signings, the overachievers of this season. You've got to ring up with one of those points to talk. You're not getting through onto the airlines.
And on
that's
that
it.
Note, Terry,
go on, just do me.
Who's been your best player of the season?
Mo Salah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mo Salah just he's done. He's not just all the goals and his creativity and his brilliance. He's done it in some seriously important moments in games to Liverpool. He really has.
Love that. Most improved. In fact, tell me, most improved at Man United.
Okay, well, overall in the league, I was going to go Robertson at Liverpool again. I think that he came in, he struggled to get into the team, and since he's got in, he's just got better and better. At Man United, most improved, I'd go with Ashley Young. He's been changed. He got changed in positions. He's done a brilliant job as being a fullback. So I think it's an improvement in he's probably been his best Man United year. And he's been there like 8-9 years or whatever now. Maybe a bit less than that, actually. Maybe about 6-7 years. And yeah, so I'd give it to Ashley Young.
And understated as well. Biggest flop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had massive expectations for Morata at Chelsea. So I get your point. Renato Sanchez has probably been the worst performing player and the biggest flop in the league. However, it's about expectations. I expected Morata. I wanted him at Man United. When Chelsea signed him, I was worried. I was concerned. And not only is he not delivered, he just looks. He's like living in a cave. He's just like he's gone.
What does he do?
You got that meme of Homer Simpson walking backwards into a bush.
Yeah.
It's like he just, as soon as his confidence went, it's just like all he's done is, I just don't want to be in the limelight.
That's it.
It's like right now, I think he'd rather be on the bench than in the starting lineup.
Yep.
That way, if he doesn't come on, he doesn't want to shoulder the responsibility of Chelsea not winning a game. I think he preferred it to make me feel.
And I think what makes it worse is that he had such a brilliant start. Remember that goal he scored against Stoke, where he ran through 3 defenders.
Got a winner against Man United, big game at Stamford Bridge, and you're like, wow, this guy looks great. And then that's the thing, the test of a player. And it's why I was so impressed with Man City this year, because when they did lose some games or they had some bad results, they bounced back. That bounce back ability. And that's how the difference between a truly world-class player and a talented individual. When the going gets rough, whether it's you get dropped by the manager, you fall out with a coach, that you have 3 or 4 bad games, you get dropped, whatever it may be. As a team, you lose a game or you have a couple of bad decisions go against you. If that consumes you and you sulk or you lose your confidence or you stop trying so hard or you just... Anything like that mental weakness is what stops you from being an elite level football player and one of the very best at it. And Morata's been my flop.
So on that note, because as you said, Lukaku has gone through 10 games, was it, without scoring? Is that the reason that he wouldn't get best signing for you? Or is he a candidate?
No, he wouldn't get best signing because of that reason. But Lukaku came back through the end of that. When he came back through that Bayern run, not only was he scoring goals again, he came back and was playing better football. If you go back, he was holding the ball up better, his interchange was a bit better. And it needs to be more improvements from Lukaku, so I wouldn't give him best signing. And my biggest overachiever, Burnley. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, my name's Aaron.
Hello, mate. Who do you support?
I support Liverpool.
Good. So what is it you've rung us to speak about?
Yeah, what you lot are talking about, worst signings.
So who do you give your best player to this year? What are the 2 or 3 areas you want to talk about?
Okay, the best player, I think the best signing this season has been Mohamed Salah.
Okay, yes.
I think, hands down by a mile, he's been the best signing this year, definitely. Coming into the league, today he broke the record for most goals scored in a whole season. And he's a right winger. A lot of people don't think about it. He ain't a striker. He ain't out and out striker like Harry Kane is, Okay. He plays on a right wing. I think only Lionel Messi, has as a right winger has, done it consistently. How many right wingers in the world come to any league and score, 32 goals in a single season. But yeah, for those reasons, I definitely have to give it to Mohamed Salah.
And when we look at the other side of it, so things like the most improved player or sort of the biggest flops, who stand out in those areas for you?
Most improved player, I have to give it to Andrew Robertson, definitely. He was relegated with Hull at the end of last season. Battered by Harry Kane on the last day. And he's come into this Liverpool squad. And yeah, it's just amazing, It's not... Obviously, he's kept Moreno out of the team, but I ain't really... I think he's
that in itself is a good thing.
Sorry?
Moreno is one of those liability players, so that in itself, it's a good achievement because the young man, he's been brilliant, and it's an interesting one because a lot of the PFA Player of the Year awards, they pick them in February. And I always get frustrated by it. I get why, because but the season ends, the players all want to go on holiday. They don't want to go to award ceremonies. But if those awards were being picked now, I'm sure Robertson would be in the team of the year for left back. There's not the only guy that comes close to being as good as him this year is Ashley Young, and he's not been on he's not been on the same page. That's the difference between Robinson and everybody else. I can't even think of another left back I'd even put into contention for it.
Yeah, it's true.
How much of that do you reckon is down to Klopp, though?
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp's an amazing manager, and you know what? You know the difference between Klopp and Pep Guardiola is that they're coaches as well.
Okay.
They can really, like, they take players under their wing and improve players. Like they're good coaches as well. You understand that? That's the difference between some managers can just manage. You understand, and they rely on their coaching team. But I think Jurgen Klopp and Pep, like they're coaches. That's the difference between them and other managers. Yeah. So I think a lot of it is down to Jurgen Klopp, and he has, through the transfers that he's made, the players he's bought for Liverpool. You know, I think his record is really good in bringing players in and improving them. You know, so I think definitely.
Mate,
down to
really appreciate your call. We've got some more people to get to, so thank you.
Okay then. All right,
mate.
then,
Top man. Thank you.
Bro.
Cheers. It's a good balanced views there. Look, Liverpool players are going to dominate a lot of these debates because they've been very entertaining. One thing Liverpool have had that I've been jealous of this year is they've had 2 or 3 players that have just been brilliant and consistent all year. When I look at my team, you probably say the same with Arsenal. Chelsea will probably fit into this category as well, where we've had 2 or 3 players that have had good 2 or 3 month periods, but no one that's done it for 10 months. Yeah, pretty much on and off. And that's, Lukaku started his Man United career, as you mentioned. I think it was like 10 goals in his first 10 games, and you're thinking, wow, he could go on to do something really special. And he's had a great season, 30 odd goals in a season. Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah. No denying it.
And we always knew he would hit that.
Pogba started off well. The only Man United player two that for me have been completely consistent all year has been Nemanja Matic. Yeah, and David De Gea, but Liverpool have had it from players that are entertaining, and I think that stands out more in your mind.
Yeah, I get that.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Kai.
Ty?
Kai.
Ty, hello, Ty. What is it you want to speak about today?
Just my player of the season.
Go on, tell us who that is.
Nemanja Matic. I just think he's an amazing CDM.
Big up you, man.
Okay, I get he's an amazing central defensive midfielder, but what is it he has done in a Man United shirt this year that makes him your player of the season?
Well, as a Chelsea fan last season, he was just absolutely amazing for us, and he's been quite good this season for United. I just think he's quite good at defending, and then when he gets to the edge of the goal, he just bangs one in, which I think is quite good.
I think it's quite interesting. I read an article on Tuesday. Yaya Toure said that the person he hates playing against most is actually Nemanja Matic, which I thought was quite interesting because you know that Toure bullies other midfielders and he destroys, scores goals, creates all of that stuff. But it's interesting that Matic was the one player that stood out in his mind. So I think you're very right. And in my opinion, he's the one that's stabilised Manchester United's midfield this season. But I don't know if Terry agrees.
No, look, I appreciate a Chelsea fan phoning up and saying that. It means a lot. It really, really does. I really appreciate the call. And I think what you've said is true. I go back to that game, Chelsea versus City. I think it was 3 seasons ago at the Etihad, around Christmas time, I believe. And Matic had this dominant display against City. Very rarely were their midfield beaten the way they were, and he was brilliant. And he's had 1 or 2 off games. Every player can have an off game or 2. Of course. But from the first second he put on a United shirt this season until... I don't think he played today, actually, but he's been phenomenal. And sometimes it's subtleties and nice passing. Things he does brilliantly for such a big guy as well, the drop of the shoulder. Yeah. He can be in a tight spot, he'll drop a shoulder, he'll dummy, he'll spin out of trouble and he'll keep the ball flowing. And for me, when I look at my club, if we could have next season either the guy next to him in a 2-man or a 3-man midfield, if they can all perform to the same consistent level that Matic did, if you have a midfield playing like that, you have an opportunity of winning titles and major titles. And that's where, he set a benchmark this year for Man United players to aspire to get to next year, and that's those levels of, and that's the consistency point again that comes in. It's like I get the caller before spoke about how Klopp's great at improving players. That you can go through every team, whether they've done good or bad, and find consistent players and individuals that have done well. You know, you look at Aubameyang as an example. He's done brilliantly and scored goals. Is that because Wenger's coached that into him, or is that because he just is at that level? And that's so there's always that argument, isn't there? And I get coaches play a massive part, they do. But Alexis Sanchez was brilliant every year in an Arsenal team that most were calling for the managers to be sacked in. But that's what you need. And the difference is this year between the top 2 or 3 sides in England is that the City are the standout. They've just had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people of that quality stay in that form for a longer period of time. And of course you congratulate the manager on that, but sometimes it comes down to, did you buy well? Did you recruit well? Or have you nurtured them through the academy well? And
which is, though, a part of management.
Of course it is. Absolutely. And that's why it's you take it in there. We've got another call coming through, I believe. Maybe.
Yeah, I think we do.
No, he's gone. Oh, on here. Hello. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Oh, hello, it's Tony. I rang a couple of weeks ago.
Hello, Tony.
When you played Man United. I would just like to say I agree with you about Mo Salah. I thought he's been excellent this season.
Yep. What is it he's done? Apart from the goals, we know the goals. What else has he done that's really stood out to you?
His impact play, his movement on the ball, how he tracks players and how he goes around players and everything like that. And I enjoy watching him. To be fair, how about you?
Oh, mate, I had this debate a lot about who's better, and I tend to steer away from it. It's about who I enjoy watching, and Mo Salah excites me. I like the way he plays. I like his low centre of gravity. I love the fact that he scores tap-ins, he scores headers, and then he scores absolutely majestic, beautiful goals. He does everything, and he's a phenomenal player. There's so much about him that I like. The biggest thing for me now, though, looking at Mo Salah, and the second half of today's show is talking about next season's expectations. I'll set that up, the premise of that up now. I look at Mo Salah, and it's like, right, what are you going to do next year? And it's not to slag him off. It's not to try and play. This season is amazing, and it'll always stand there in the record books. The argument now around Mo Salah is to prove you are genuine world class. It's about doing that for your second and your third and your fourth and fifth. If you go back through the Premier League and you look at Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, you throw these names out there of absolute, and he has to be spoke about in that same breath because he's scoring goals on par with those individuals, if not more than some of them. Ian Rush and Fernando Torres in his pomp, Michael Owen in his pomp. These guys did it year after year after year after year. Some had their kind of top-level careers cut short by injury, but that's now the expectation for Mo Salah. This season's done, all bar the Champions League final. Well done, congratulate him, pat him on the back. Now I'm really eager to see what he does next year. And if he can do it again, then you know you've got a £200 million man on your hands there at Liverpool, and fair play to him. Any other sort of individuals that stand out this season, whether it be for overachieving, underachieving, anything else like that on your mind, Tony?
Oh, it's about the Arsenal players.
It can be. You can talk about Arsenal, your club. Yeah, who's really in an Arsenal season that's been hit and miss? Who's really stood out for you in an Arsenal shirt this year?
Right, let me hear.
This player's coming halfway through the season is Mkhitaryan from Man United. I think he's good. He's good on the ball. He can read play, and I think Jose Mourinho, when he was at Man United, to be honest with you, I don't think he actually watched him properly, because I think he's actually a good player. I think he was out of order how he treated Mkhitaryan. I think he should have been playing more, to be honest with you.
Mkhitaryan.
I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah.
Go on. You're. Yeah. Have you been? I'll answer that question. But Adam, have you been impressed with Mkhitaryan at Arsenal?
I think, he was treated badly at Manchester United, but I think he had. I remember that Everton game. He came in. I thought, this guy is classy, and it's kind of petered out towards the end of the season. And I would love to see. He's also wearing a number 77 shirt, which really annoys me. I don't get why he's doing that. But yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do next season, because I don't really think he added much else to our squad. We had a squad full of playmakers. We had a squad full of people that can pass and drop their shoulder and do nice little body feints. But our attack is unbalanced, because we need genuine wingers, of which Mkhitaryan isn't one.
I've got another thing to say as well.
Go on.
Mert Ozil. I heard a lot of things about his wage he's got. Do you reckon that's way too much for what he's playing like at the moment? Like to the end of the season? Because the last couple of games he hasn't been that good at all.
What football fans... I've been screaming this at football fans now for 2 years, and I'll do it again now. What a football player is paid to play is not always... With certain individual players is not always representative of what you should expect from them on the football pitch. And I say that because Ozil, I think... maybe slightly, he's definitely in the top 3 to 4, but he is, for instance, one of the most followed social media players on social media in the world. Okay, he is. I think he has more followers on his personal accounts than Arsenal have in the entirety of theirs. It's huge. So that's just one aspect of it. Right? Okay, so he's the biggest and most celebrated and loved player in Germany, huge country. He's also got the fact that his religious background attracts a lot of people to him as well. You know, you see when he's been on Hajj and he's gone, he's travelled and stuff. The attention he gets from the Muslim community is massive, and that's all great for him as an individual, because it makes him extremely marketable. Yeah. Okay, so when you're a very marketable player, regardless of how you play on the football pitch, you demand a higher salary. You know, just retweeting the club's tweets, right down to you advertising a sponsor that's involved with a club, will do a lot more than, say, Holding doing it in an Arsenal shirt. So Wayne Rooney at Man United, for instance, he was on salary for a while that was on par with Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, not because anybody believed he was on the same level of footballing ability, but because on a marketing level,
it's Rooney.
It was Wayne Rooney, and for a number of years he was on par with them, and it's why Paul Pogba as a midfielder for me is no better than Marco Verratti. But Paul Pogba would cost you more because you're paying for a man that's going to generate more money and more income for your business. So there is a commercial and a marketing aspect to a player's salary and their transfer fee, which is often taken out of the context of a discussion when you're comparing players. So I think it's very important to, if Ozil didn't use social media, if he was like a Paul Scholes who was not interested in endorsements, he didn't do anything outside of play football, he would be on about 100 grand a week. Because that's all a player with that level of marketability could pull in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's what I would say to that. So, mate, really do appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much. I always talk about the money in football. It's always something I'm passionate about, because people, they don't really understand it. And there's a great article the other day talking about Alexis Sanchez, that he gets paid an extra £75,000 per week at Man United every time he plays. Mm-hmm. And the article itself said that's on top of his £375,000 a week wages. But then another journalist quoted it, and I can't believe this, it's £75,000 a week appearance fee on top of his reported £600,000 a week salary. And I'm like, they're still going with that 600 grand a week. And I told everyone what that 600 grand a week was.
What's the truth? Do some myth busting right now.
So this is the thing with Alexis Sanchez's salary, okay? His base is around about £350,000 a week. That's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money, no doubt about it. But we just spoke about the marketability. Yeah. What you will then find on top of that is all different types of bonuses. There'll be appearance fees, goal bonuses, win bonuses, etc. When you hit a certain amount of goals, which he hasn't done in United shirt, those bonuses often accelerate. As an example. So what someone has done is they have worked out with the way he's contracted, and they did this as Zlatan a few years ago. If, for instance, he reaches 20 goals in a season, every goal after 20 goals, he'll get an even higher higher bonus for. So what they've worked out is if he was to score a hat-trick after already being on 20 goals that season, play 2 games or maybe 3 games in a week, and win all those games, if you added up all those bonuses together in extenuating circumstances, you could make up a salary of 600 grand a week. I see. So what they are able to do is they say, oh, he's on 600 grand a week. Well, he's not. That's what, like, the maximum he could ever earn. And then he'd have to have 3 games in a week, win them all, scoring them all. There'd have to be so many factors that would make that possible, if that makes sense. And he's never going to achieve that. Like, last year, they said they leaked information that Zlatan was on £497 £7,000 a week. And that was because it was literally, also footballers get paid monthly. So what can happen is people steal bank statements, people see little bits of paper, and they add up, they think, oh, because we all talk about weekly wage, but they don't get paid weekly, they get paid monthly. Yeah. People can misconstrue. So they're saying there's myths in it. I don't know the exact amount. I haven't seen the contract. All I know through people that bank him is that he's definitely not on 600 grand a week as a base salary. Complete and utter lies. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name is Daniel, and I support Chelsea, unfortunately.
Boo!
Don't say unfortunately. That's your
say
team.
Unfortunately, that dead team.
Whoa! You support Arsenal, chill, mate. Chill.
So?
Come on.
So? But no, go on, talk to us. You lost today.
Obviously it's not unfortunate, you know. One team's won the Champions League, only team in London to do so, you know. Just saying. But right now it's peak because my team's basically just called Suffer NFC. We all know what Conte does. His tactics are pragmatic. He doesn't get the best out of his best player, which is Hazard. And it's really just a shambles at the moment. It's a real shambles.
Yeah, I hear that. So hold on. So who is the biggest flop this season?
Bakayoko, obviously.
Thank you. Well done.
I would actually say the Chelsea board were the biggest flops this year.
You know what? They are the big flop because they discouraged Conte in the first place by not getting the signings he wanted, aka players like Alexandro, potentially Sanchez, another midfielder to replace Matic properly because Bakayoko's not done a job. They
also sanctioned Matic leaving over his head. He didn't want him to go.
To Manchester United of all people.
Look, in all fairness, Chelsea have had a bit of a habit of doing that in terms of, I suppose it's from the player's point of view, it's a nice thing. If you're a player at Chelsea and you know that if you've got a good relationship and you've worked hard, they will allow you to move to the club you want. As a player, that's a good thing. Yeah. But for a manager and the fans, that's an awful policy. But I suppose it's about getting that balance. So let me ask you this question about Conte. Are you... Where do you sit on the situation with him? Now, I would say get rid of him because it's not working. Not because he's a bad manager, but because he's fallen out with the board. Yeah. But who do you hold accountable for the situation Chelsea find themselves in?
Well, I'm not reactionary. I don't think you can just blame one person for an entire club's fault in a bad season, which is a bad season.
Yep.
The board, first and foremost, definitely have to be held accountable because the signings that we made weren't good enough. Getting rid of Costa, at the time, it was debatable if we should do so. Once you got Morata in, that was never the case. He was never a first starting choice striker for Real Madrid or Juventus. He was never going to replace him. Bakayoko for Matic, he was awful in the Champions League semi-final against Juventus. Why anyone thought he was actually going to be able to replace Matic, I do not know. And Rudiger has been okay, but as I said, in the first place, the recruitment just was not good enough. Conte losing almost his belief in the team and wanting to actually make us progress as a team, especially from January onwards, has been shocking. That's what led to us actually falling back in the table because at our point we were level with you guys, Man United, in second, third place. And we should have been maybe pushing towards being near a title race. No one was going to ever be in a title race with Man City. They've been amazing this season. Well done to them. But the fact that we've then regressed so badly, had those poor performances against Watford, Bournemouth, I don't want to go through the rest of them because I'm getting pissed off thinking about them. But it's been a shambles, and Conte definitely has to hold a lot of blame for it because our squad is definitely better than what it should be and what it's showing. Because the performance week out is terrible.
So I was saying this earlier. I go through the Chelsea squad now, and there's still quite a few of your players I would put into my club, Man United's first team. Like for instance, as an example.
You said Hazard,
Azpilicueta would both get into Man United's starting lineup. Kante would get into Man United's. I mean, absolute guarantee. Those three players would get into the team. And then there's a few.
Like Fabregas, you said.
Fabregas, I would take at Manchester United. Like you've got some really good players, if that makes sense. Then you start getting to players that are on par, if that makes sense. I actually think Alonso as a left back, he would improve Man United. We don't have a left back. We have an old winger that we
play. Young is not a left back.
Yeah, but he's done well. But he's not. But he ain't a left back.
He's a repurposed winger.
Yeah, exactly. He's like it's a bodge job. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're just gonna. Do you know what I mean? One of those. You know when you buy like a computer that's let's say refurbished. He's a refurbished computer. He's just parking it off as new. So Chelsea have got some very good players, top class players, and I think what you put out with Conte, I feel sorry for Conte, and I feel, but he let it go too far in terms of, and this is the interesting thing with managers when they tell the truth. And we've seen that a lot with Conte, and we've seen it with Jose at Man United. When the truth is spoken, it can actually be more of a hindrance. If he was that, he probably shouldn't have gone so public with. It was very obvious what he said without even saying the words. For us to now challenge on two fronts, I need to improve things because this squad isn't good enough. We kind of got through with good tactics last year. Now we really need to push on. And I think some of the players at Chelsea took exception to that. Like, he's got so upset about not getting these new signings and the players we brought in. That's going to have a negative effect on those individuals because footballers are softer now than they've ever been. Fan bases are they're melting snowflakes everywhere. They don't like the truth. Does that make sense? Like, it upsets everybody. And I think Conte was too honest and then he sulked for too long. And as you say, the early 2018 form was abysmal, but I'm not trying to rub salt into the wound, but it's frustrating really because the irony is 2 or 3 decent signings and Allegri coming in as an example in the summer, you could win the league again next year. Like, you've done that twice they're that good a squad. It's like that's why I don't accept like the players. That's why the players' behaviour annoys me as well at your club because I think they're so much better than they're demonstrating. Some of those individuals out there.
I was going 100%. I agree. If I'll just to cut in as well. I'm as much as I feel really annoyed about this season as a whole because I don't think we're going to win the FA Cups. Again, part of what I don't like about Conte is even if we go a goal up, we're going to just sit back, invite pressure, and United are actually good when a team just lets them invite pressure onto them. Pogba gets to the final third, and it's going to be a wrap, as we saw against Tottenham. But for next season, I'm actually looking forward to it because I believe we are more than likely going to get Sarri or Jardim, people who are going to actually want to play football. I'm going to say that again, play football. Bloody hell, Conte, oh my God, what he's done to me this season. Anyways, play actual football and let players like Hazard off the leash, players actually get forward, people and actually support this guy because right now we're playing football where it's literally get the ball to Hazard and let him run up the field. Whereas with Salah at Liverpool, he's actually staying in the final third, creating chances for himself, scoring goals. Whereas Hazard, he needs to take the entire team up maybe 40 yards up the field and then before he can actually maybe get a chance for himself because people don't realise he's actually a very clinical finisher. It was a period of maybe during the Christmas period where he scored, I think, maybe 8 goals from about 12 shots on target, which is actually a really good record. So, for me, Conte has not got the best out of the players. He's done really good in the first season. I do credit him for that, especially also for getting Conte. He's going to be maybe the best midfielder in the Premier League over the next 5, 6, 7 years, in my opinion. And, yeah, I wish him all the best in the future, but it's got to be Sarri or Jardim in next season. And for the FA Cup final, I don't rate Man United. I really don't, but it's going to be a tough one for us to win that.
Do you know that's actually become my most favourite thing this year, mate? Really appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much. My favourite thing has become I don't rate Man United, but just that word "but" at the end. It's like no one rates us, but we're second. No one rates us, but we're in FA Cup final. None of the top 4 rate. Like literally, I would say if you went through most professional pundits, most fans out there, we're the most hated and like we're the worst top 6 side, but we're. Other than City, we're better. We've been better than the rest in terms of results, and I've kind of grown to love that this year because I kind of felt like the one-man team batting away the criticism all year. Yeah. We're going to move the show on now, though, so no more talk about what we've been speaking about. We're going to move on now to next season's expectation. We're going to talk top 6. We're going to run through that pretty quickly. We'll take a couple of phone calls on it. Jay is going to take your phone calls on that now. He'll save them. We're going to be a few minutes before we put you on the air. But remember, before we do that, please download the OneFootball app. Massively important to us. Title sponsors of FanPark Live. Information for that is in the description below. Aside from that, next week, so a little bit of an announcement here. We haven't really gone overly public with this yet, but at 10 p.m. every night, Monday to Friday, for the next 3 weeks, we will be, so I'm doing quite a few of the shows, so Adam and Chris will be in on them as well. We are hosting FanPark Live head-to-head. That's in association with History, okay? You've seen History. They're on Sky. They're on cable. They're all over America. Huge television channel, History, working alongside us for live head-to-head debate shows. So
formerly called History Channel, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, but they're now called History. Exactly. It's just History.
Just History.
Okay, so we're working with them. Amazing for us. We're working with one of the biggest TV channels in America, one of the biggest cable and satellite channels in the world. So that's amazing for us to be working with History. But tomorrow night's show is the first one at 10 p.m. Okay, it's the debate between who is the best between Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. We'll be covering many subjects. Totti versus Ryan Giggs. Brazil versus Italy in the World Cup, the Invincibles versus Man United's treble-winning side. So there are lots of these debates happening every single night. People have already sent us in their videos. We've got studio guests ranging from Claude. We've got DT coming in. We've got some of the guys from the Football Banter Show. Louis from 100% Chelsea. Some great guests coming in. Many more people as well. Hopefully getting Mr. Mark Goldbridge involved with it as well, which will be amazing to get his views on some of these subject matters. So 10 p.m. like clockwork every night, Monday to Friday for the next 3 weeks, we'll be live with FanPark Live head to head. That's ahead of the World Cup as well, because the World Cup we're doing FanPark Live for every single game.
Every damn game.
Every game.
Saudi Arabia versus Egypt. We're there.
That's my one.
We're there.
That's the one. We're doing all those games as well. So yeah, big things coming up. We're going to move this show on now to next season's expectations. And I'm going to go to you first, Adam, with this. And we'll run through these. We'll do 20, 30 seconds on each one. Champions Man City, we'll start with them. What's your expectations for them? How are they going to progress this team next year? What's the expectations for them as a club?
I think there's still some rebuilding to do. Fernandinho is 33. David Silva's 32, 33. So those two were central tenets of the success of this season. I've already seen that they're willing to pay £50 million for Jorginho from Napoli. So I would imagine he's going to replace Fernandinho. And I think it's just a matter of getting the same amount of strength in depth that they have at the back for the rest of the squad. So, for instance, if Sterling gets injured and Sane were to get injured, Bernardo Silva could cover on one wing, but who would go on the other? So I think, it's just a matter of having two players, and I can't believe that they have the money to even do this, but two players of decent standard in every position, and they're going to go clear.
I think with City, for me, I think everything just sounds right. They've got to do some stuff in the transfer market, but my expectations of what they need to achieve as a minimum is retain the Premier League title. Back-to-back titles for a team that good is what they need to be considered a great side, if that makes sense. Back-to-back titles. No one's done it for a decade, so that's one expectation. And the next is, I'm not saying win the Champions League, but they've got to progress to the final.
I was actually going to ask that, because you were saying that Pep's been brought in because he should win the Champions League.
So Mancini and Pellegrini had won domestic titles and had won Premier League. They'd already done that. So it isn't to say they don't want to keep winning those, but the idea is, we want them, with the money they're spending and the ambition of the owners, the idea is to become champions of Europe as well.
Okay.
So,
and you think that so he needs to win it, not just challenge in the semis?
And I'm not saying he's got to win it within his first 3 years. I think he wants to be at the club longer. So I would say next year, my expectations of this City side that I think are when they're on form, are the best team in the world. I would expect the final with the Champions League and winning the Premier League as a minimum expectation. That's what I would set him. But I love your views and points on that on calls. Let's move on now to...
Talk to me about United.
Okay, we'll talk Man United. We'll talk Man United. For me, my expectations are very simple. I've done a video on this already. I want the football to improve.
Okay.
And I'm not talking, and I've said this to a lot of United fans, I don't expect it to look like Klopp's or Pep's. Okay? Don't put the call through yet. 1 sec, mate. I don't expect the football to improve. I want it to get better.
All right.
Be a little bit more entertaining. I want to score more goals, concede less. That's one expectation. The next I want us to put together a good title challenge. Okay? And I mean, with 2 to 3 games to go in the Premier League, I want us to be able to mathematically still win it. 19 points away now. We need to gain that back.
That's a lot,
it is a lot, but that's my expectations of Jose next year. So better football and to do that. If he does that, I'm happy to sacrifice not winning a trophy next year by being in that title race. I'm happy with that level of progression, because the word progression is so key. I also want to progress further in the Champions League, and I expect at least a solid performance in a quarter-final. And I would, as the third season, coming back from everything we were at, plus how good everybody else in Europe is and how good City are, that's the expectation I would set. Of course, I don't want to go out in the third round of the FA Cup and the third round of the League Cup. You want to go far. But if you're pushing City, who I think will win the league, right until the last few games, and the football's got better, I'm happy with that direction Man United are going in.
Okay.
So I would accept that and be happy. However, if we finish the season with less points, if we finish the season with no trophies, if the football goes backwards, if we don't move on from where we are now, will I call for Jose's head? Potentially. Depends how bad it is. But for me, all I keep asking for, and I'll stay consistent, is I want progression. I want us to keep moving forward. And until we reach the absolute pinnacle, and then all you can ask for is consistency, you just want to keep seeing your team move forward. And that's all I want.
And so you're not Mourinho out?
No. Nowhere near.
What do you think of the people that are Mourinho out?
I think they're being naive because, yes, you could look at the teams at the bottom that have sacked managers. Some sack people and it saved them. Others sack people and it made no difference, or they sacked them too late, or look at Swansea. They were down there. They bring someone in. They look like they're going to improve. They end up going out down anyway. So they spent all that money in the January transfer window. Spent all that money sacking a manager. All that money bringing a new guy in for nothing. So you can never tell. For me, you get rid of Jose, it might get better. You get rid of Jose, we might go back 2 years again and start all over again from the same position. I'm not willing to take that risk. No. That's my view on him leave. There's many more multifaceted, but we've got a call coming through though. Hope it's about expectations. If it's not, they're gone. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name? Bless you, Adam.
What's happening? I'm Jamie.
Hello, Jamie. Who do you support, mate?
What's happening?
All good, bruv. What team do you support?
I support Arsenal.
Good. So we're going to move on to Arsenal next anyway. So what's your expectations for Arsenal next year with their new manager?
First of all, I want like a top quality manager. I'm not interested in Arteta or... No offense to Vieira, he's a legend. I love him, but he ain't got the experience. So that's first of all. I'd like someone like Allegri. I think that's happening, or apparently supposed to be happening, but I don't know. But
keep praying, bro.
Secondly, I'd like us to sort out our defence. That's the top priority, because our defender's been abysmal for a few years now, not just this season.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, Koscielny, he's coming back from a serious injury. So our best defender currently, who I mean has been on the wane for quite a few seasons, he's even out. So that means if we weren't to buy anybody, we've got what? Chambers and Holding, or Mustafi and Holding as our first choice centre back. Like, do you know what I mean?
Don't get me started on Mustafi.
See what I'm saying?
Mustafi's been abysmal. Yeah. Like, I want him gone, to be honest. But Koscielny, I feel a bit sorry for him, because he's been playing with this Achilles injury all season, and he's got a lot of stick for his performances. But I respect him for carrying on when we've needed him, even though he hasn't been great. But a lot of times Arsenal players get criticised for their attitude, and I feel a bit sorry for him.
So what do you? Sorry. What? So the new manager's going to come in. Let's say we get Allegri. What is the minimum expectation next season?
Personally, I want top 4 minimum. If we're not in the top 4, then I was going to say I want to change the manager, but I guess it depends on how tight the league is, and other things.
Yeah, I've spoke about Arsenal. I did a standalone video on it already, and I set what I think the expectation should be, just for my own opinions. And for me, first and foremost, I think it's about things like not slowing down the volume. There'll always be, every team every season will concede a weak goal or two. It's going to happen, but it's about slowing down the volume of weak goals that you concede. I think for Arsenal, it's about performing better, more consistently in the big games against your rival top 6 clubs. I think they're like sort of individual battles that would improve the mood of Arsenal. And then what you've got to look at is how far away you are over the last 2 years from a top 4 position. I mean, I haven't even looked at the league table today, but if you look right now, it's make me cry, bro. I
haven't even looked at it.
I'm going to look at it now. I'm going to look at it now just because I want to get my information right. It's not to make you feel bad. So you're in 6th. You're 13 points. Sorry, 12 points off of a top 4 position. So if you could next season conceivably you could gain 15 more points in the Premier League, which is a legitimate improvement. The issue is that Liverpool, Spurs, Man United and City could all gain an extra 3 or 4 points each, and you'd still be outside the top 4. So I think saying of course you want to be in it, you'll set the expectation, but you've got to judge the manager based on he can only improve Arsenal so far in his first year. And what you might find, you might get a bit of luck. You might have a situation like this year. One lucky thing for everyone in the Premier League is that Chelsea became so poor. They went from they're 20 points worse off this year than last year. And some of that's because their rivals have beaten them, but a lot of that is because they've just not been as good. So you might find that Liverpool or Man United or Chelsea or a couple of them have really bad seasons, and that will open up a door. But if they don't, and they're at this season's level, I think to expect the new manager suddenly to make Arsenal jump straight back into that top 4, it might just be, again, I say this because if everybody sets expectations that are too high, you could find people turning on the new manager too quickly, and that could be catastrophic.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, if we had won, 4 or 5 of our away games in 2018, or even the whole season, we'd be up there. And that's, I don't think that's too much to ask, man. That's for Arsenal Football Club. Anyway, I feel like part of our problem is that we've just been too accepting of this mediocrity. I think, people slam Chelsea for their for their philosophy on appointing managers, but if you look at the record of trophies won in, 20 years? Yeah. I don't think you can't go wrong. I mean, after Arsene Wenger...
Yeah, I think yeah. Sorry, go on.
After Arsene Wenger's gone, I don't think I'm going to have any allegiance to any manager again, to be honest. I don't think that's how modern football is. So,
do you know what's interesting? It's about
if it's not working, I'm willing to change.
It's about the setup and about the players and about the ethos. I think Chelsea's culture is used to having a conveyor belt of managers. Yeah. When you're there as a player, I don't think it bothers anybody. I think where Man United have struggled with it is that you had this. They're not there anymore. Most of those players. Carrick is. De Gea, I suppose. But well, there's still a few actually. Young and Valencia. A lot of players that are still at Man United were used to having one guy. The club would run a certain way, and then suddenly, over the space of 4 years, there was 3 different regimes. And where Chelsea remains different is that the manager only comes in and coaches the first team. So it's easy. Yeah. The issue is it's about clubs getting their setup right. And what I mean by that is if you want a model like that where you can sack a manager every 18 months, 2 years, the manager's only job is to coach the team that's there. That manager can't, for me, pick who's being signed, can't pick who gets sold, can't have any input on the academy, because otherwise you're changing the structure of the club every 18 months, which doesn't make it conducive. And for me, it's a case of you either want a head coach or you want a manager. If you have a manager, you have to give them time. And, I think Man United have proven that. Like, you just think, Moyes overhauled everything, didn't work. So we brought in LVG that overhauled everything, didn't work. Jose's come in and overhauled things. It's got better, but that's my problem with sacking Jose now. That you could bring in a whole new regime, and it could go backwards 5 steps. You never know. It could turn us into Barcelona. It won't, but it could. Listening to them, I just think it's one of those things, mate. But it'll be an interesting year for Arsenal. Really do appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much as ever. We'll touch really quickly on the others. Chelsea expectations.
Unfortunately, they'll get a decent manager who will sort out their squad, and they will probably get back into the top 4, which is why I wanted to ask Jamie who he thinks will fall out if Arsenal get back in. But Spurs will definitely fall out, but I don't know who the other club will be.
So my expectations of Spurs are I think if they sort their bloody mentality out,
they won't.
They won't. If they have to, because my videos are change these 3 things, and based on those 3 changes, this will be your expectations. That's the idea. If they sort out their mentality, I expect this Spurs side. Spurs have got so many good players. I expect a title challenge. But this is the point. I'm not weak. Do you know what it is? You're thinking. If I think like a Spurs fan, okay, I've got 2 mates that are Spurs fans. One of them's like, we can do that if we sort our mindset. The others are just like, oh, well, we're kind of happy just to be involved.
Of course.
And that's the problem. If they're happy just to be involved, they're going to fall out of the top 4. They're going to lose their best players. They're not going to change the wage cap. Oh. Chelsea, I expect them to be solidly back in the top 4 next year and winning a trophy. That should be their expectations. Billionaire owner club. They've got top to world-class talent already there. They're going to go out and spend. Chelsea are going to go big this summer. They need to deliver. Liverpool. Champions League finalists. I'm in 2 minds with Liverpool.
Exactly.
In my other video, I'll put it out there. I said they need, if they're as good as Liverpool fans keep saying they are. They've got Naby Keita coming in. They're linked with Nabil Fekir. Yeah. They're linked with Dembele, either on loan or buying him. I think they're going to buy 3 or 4 big players. They're spending £60 million on Naby Keita, who already paid for. $65 million on Nabil Fekir. For me, if they bring in those players and they don't lose anyone, bro, if they're not challenging for the Premier League, they're not meeting expectations.
It's true.
Because they're in the Champions League final.
They have to.
They keep saying that the only reason that United are in front of them in second is because they've taken their eye off of it.
Yeah.
If you're saying those 2 things, you have to challenge for the Premier League next year.
Which is why it's a bit of a problem. I can kind of see a bit of regression next season.
But I can see that happening as well. And we said this earlier. And again, Liverpool fans are going to get so triggered by this. And I don't want you to. I'm not attacking the club.
Trigger them, Terry, man. Trigger them,
If Mo Salah is still a really good player and scores 25 goals next year, but isn't quite banging in 40 plus, are you going to get Champions League finals again? Are you going to be this high up in the league? You don't know how Naby Keita and anyone else coming in is going to do. There is that question. I'd love to hear your answers on it. Leave that in the comments below. But for my expectations of Liverpool next year, challenging in the same way of Man United, 2 or 3 games to go. You need to be mathematically within a chance of winning the league. Otherwise, I think it's an underachievement. And regardless of what happens, if you don't, you need to win a trophy as well. And that's whether you win the Champions League or not, because they keep telling me they're that good a team, and they are going to strengthen this year and add strength to their depth. And I take on board they say we can't challenge on 2 fronts because we're too weak a squad.
Well, the best teams do.
Well, this is the point. If you want to, and I made this. What I'm really, really proud of when it comes to Liverpool. I say proud of it. It's probably the wrong word. What I'm really impressed with when it comes to Liverpool is that they've done it in the summer, January, and they're doing it again. They're spending money like a big club.
Yeah. And
they've got less money than Arsenal, I will add. They're going out there and they're spending the 50, 60, 70 million pounds now on players. And rather than bringing in 4, 5, 6, 7, they just need to bring in 2 or 3 every summer transfer window now, because they will lose people. Everybody does. But you're talking quality that can come in, that can fit into that Jurgen Klopp mould. Yeah. But for me, so that's what I put it. Man United and Liverpool need to, and Spurs all need to be challenging for the title next year. And then it's Arsenal and Chelsea are battling out to push one or if not 2 of those sides out, if that makes sense. Yeah. So again, it's one of those things for me. If Arsenal finish 6th again next year, that may not necessarily be a bad season, because I think cancelled. No, I say that because I said it last year, but City went on this run that was just beyond anything we expected. There's going to come a point in the next few years where there's a season where 1st and 6th are only separated by 10, 11 points. Yeah. And finishing 6th won't be a bad achievement. In terms of, everyone's going to be that close. But you could actually get to a point where Chelsea finished 6th one year, 3rd the next, win it, and then finish 4th again. But there ain't a great deal. That's how close I think all these teams are going to become. But only if Spurs sort out their mentality, only if Arsenal start to spend big, only if Chelsea give the managers what they want, and if Jose stays at Man United. I'm only messing, but... Let everyone know where they can find you. We're wrapping the show up.
The 5th Official on YouTube and at TFO Show on Twitter. Yeah, check us out. We're doing a show today, actually. So, yeah, make sure you check us out.
Did you say we've got a video, Jay?
Yeah, it's a trailer for a Wenger video that they made about Wenger leaving.
We've got a trailer video all about Wenger leaving. We're going to play that for you. We can play it now? The full video is available in the Ultimate Football Fan app. So you can download that. You can only get it on the app. The information for that is in the description below. So get the Ultimate Football Fan app downloaded. Trailers coming up for you right now.
Arsene Wenger is leaving Arsenal Football Club.
And I didn't know about Arsene until David phoned me one day and said, look, we're going to appoint Arsene Wenger.
This guy went a season unbeaten here.
Actually, couldn't believe I cried today.
Had enough of this shit, fam. I've had enough blood.
Brought to you by the Ultimate Football Fan. I see a bit of I see Ross Dad there. Yeah, super agent. There he is. Tune in for it, because it'll be. Look, I think it'll be an interesting one to watch. A nice little documentary on, you know, from an Arsenal fan's point of view. Now that the man himself has left it done. Just we didn't really speak about that today. We didn't need to. But Arsene Wenger is. I should have put him in my flop of the season, but I thought that'd be.
No.
He's had enough stick.
Yeah,
we'll leave. Do you know what it is? I'll just never have to talk about him again now.
No.
Done.
Well, you will.
My job is done. I'm removing my endorsement of the hashtag burn down the Emirates. That's now finished. Wenger out hashtags are gone.
Oh, wow.
But do you know what's going to happen next year? Do you know what's going to happen? I told you it's all going to go full circle, right? You're going to get Ty, he's going to hate the new manager. No. And then you're going to get DT and Troops that are going to be like the new Ties.
Ty's the new manager. Loyal man. Ty will never do that. I promise you.
No, but he won't. But what you'll get next season, which could be if the new manager doesn't start well, you'll get that.
Listen, we're not putting that in the air. The Arsenal manager will do well, and he'll get us back into the Champions League. End of. Next season.
There we go. Listen, thank you all for tuning in. Download the One Football app. Take care. God bless. See you tomorrow night, 10 p.m. FanPark Live.
What's the thing? What's the topic?
Thierry Henry versus Alan Shearer. Yeah. DT's in the studio.
Bang.
I think Chris is in the studio.
Yep.
Chris Kane, that is. And myself, I'm hosting. See you then. Take care. God bless.
Hi, and welcome along to a brand new show called Completely Cooked. Mr. DT.
I'm making sausage and mash. You're cooking a ham roll.
Listen, Troops.
Man got dead Richmond.
What do you know about Richmond sausages, man? The winner will win the Golden Spoon Award.
Man, I'm making sausage and mash. Am I a prick?
You can tell I'm not used to what those look like by how many kids I've got.
I definitely don't want to eat now.
Red stripe beer to drink his sorrows away, and then he can wipe his tears, you get me?
Robbie, what are those thoughts you've got about me?
If you're cookery man, yeah, everyone knows brown rice is the longest rice to make. Man are telling me I've got 2 hours to make jerk lamb and rice. Right. This brother is making pie and mash. Look, he's gonna cry.
You got a lot of talk, yeah? Go and get your ingredients.
He's got a lot of help.
Go and get your ingredients, yeah? The loser is going to have to wear a full kit to the Emirates.